Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
As federal workforce reductions ripple through the region, the district is launching a bold response. The Talent Capital Initiative offers AI-powered job matching, free training, and regional coordination to help residents rebuild and thrive. Here to explain how D.C. is investing in resilience and reshaping its economic future is Deputy Mayor for Education, Paul Kine. Deputy Mayor Kine, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start at the big picture level with everything that's going on, the shutdown, the federal government drawdowns. How is the district's economic development strategy adapting to all of this uncertainty?
We are very, very focused on our growth agenda because we understand that as the federal government shrinks, we have got to replace that economic activity with strong new economic activity in the sectors that we can expect new jobs and new companies to come to the district. So we're very focused on the tech sector. We're very focused on business and consulting services. As I'm sure you're aware, we're very focused on sports and entertainment. So we are trying to grow our businesses and sectors where we have very high potential.
Well, aligned with that then, Mayor Bowser just rolled out a Talent Capital Initiative. So tell us about the vision behind that.
It's a really exciting, and I would say first of its kind, regional effort where our colleagues in Southern Maryland, Northern Virginia, and of course we right here in DC are focused on helping to ensure that any displaced federal workers, whether they be direct employees of the government or contractors, have a much more frictionless opportunity to get access to the great jobs, training opportunities, and coaching that we've got available across the region. So we have basically combined forces with Maryland and Virginia to ensure that residents of the region get access to all the terrific resources that exist. And we've complemented those with some new fancy items on our talentcapital.ai site.
Tell me more about the fancy items then.
Yes, I will. It is basically courtesy of the magic of agentic AI. So displaced federal workers can go on the site and they will meet Celeste, our concierge AI agent, that will basically ask them a few questions about what they really want to do. Are they looking directly for jobs? Are they interested in getting a little bit of training? Do they want certification in high potential, high growth areas? And Celeste will then connect them to resources, as I've said, that already exist.
So you don't have to be a resident of DC to take advantage of some of these programs?
Talentcapital.ai is really for the region, and depending on where you live, you have access to specific kinds of programs. If you're in Northern Virginia, for example, it connects you to Nova, where you have lots of free opportunities. If you are a district resident, there are some opportunities that are specific to DC. If you're in Southern Maryland or Montgomery County or Prince George's County, for example, the same is true. So depending where you live, you get access to specifics. There are some opportunities that are regional, and many are specific to jurisdictions.
That's really helpful. And some of the specific ones in DC I noticed were free project management certifications and data science programs at the University of District of Columbia. That's a really leading edge sort of skill set.
It's really, really important too, because we talked to lots of displaced federal workers who shared with us, for example, they were project managers, but did not have the certification that was required by many private sector companies. So what we're trying to do is offer the kinds of credentials that get you access to real jobs right now.
More specifically, you've emphasized the importance of education in driving long-term economic growth. So how are you aligning DC's workforce development program with the evolving job market and these new initiatives?
Nothing could be more important in this moment than ensuring we're linking our talent strategies, our workforce development strategies, to our economic development strategies, because we know that workforce systems and workforce development lives only in service to both what people want, the individual job seekers, but also to the economy that we've got. So we're using our talent capital to nudge folks towards the high growth sectors, and as I said, the certifications that will actually help them get those jobs. At the same time, we are being clear regionally with businesses and employers that want to expand or relocate here that we have access to really the best talent in the country, and talentcapital.ai can help us make that case.
I'm speaking with Paul Kine. He's the Deputy Mayor for Education in Washington, D.C. Let's go back to something you mentioned at the beginning, the federal presence as a driver of D.C.'s economy. It's certainly shrunk quite a bit in the last 8 months. Do you and the broader governance in DC see this as a permanent realignment?
It's a great question, and I think there is a lot of uncertainty. But what we know for sure is that the relationship of the federal government to this region is likely to be changed for good in some very specific ways. It is possible that there will be some of the federal workers that have been displaced or let go, they'll be rehired. It's possible some of the contracts will come back, so we're open to all of that. But we continue to believe that in order to be a truly robust, vibrant economy, we have to be more diversified because we've got to be able to withstand some of the changes that are afoot.
As someone told me yesterday, the Capitol building is not moving. So you know that it's still going to be here for a while. But you talked a little bit about some of the tech strategies and sports and entertainment. How is tourism, which has always been a driver of the DC economy, being affected right now?
Actually, the good news there is that we haven't really seen much change in the tourism traffic and hotel occupancy that we might have expected. We are so honored and so proud to be the nation's capital. And we know that across the country and the world, people still want to come to DC to experience the capital of the United States. And we've continued to see good traffic in tourism.
So then tell me a little bit more about the regional collaboration approach, because, we use DMV and it sort of signifies a collaboration between the district, Maryland, and Virginia. But sometimes the actual work can be a little bit more difficult than the acronym. What have you been most surprised by as you've rolled out this regional collaboration, and where do you think you still have work to do?
Well, it was really, really interesting in February, March, April, when we began talking to people from all over the region, and we learned a couple of important things about everyone's response to what was happening in the federal government. And that was every single organization that we spoke with, every entity was doing something to respond, to be helpful. And none of these entities or organizations were talking to each other. So our biggest surprise was how much activity was happening and how siloed it was. It was true that everyone wanted to start collaborating, so we needed to create a center of gravity. And that's what became talentcapital.ai. And what I'm talking about here is the secretaries of labor from Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C. I'm talking about all of the local workforce boards. We've got the Metropolitan Council of Governments, which is now housing this initiative with 24 jurisdictions in the region. So it is all of those folks alongside the private sector. We have the Greater Washington Partnership as a core leader and partner. We've got the Board of Trade, a regional entity, as a core leader and partner. So all of these folks that do all this work regionally but hadn't yet begun to collaborate on the labor market strengthening jumped at this opportunity and are now working very well together.
Have you seen any impact in the short run?
Well, we have actually just begun this initiative. We kicked it off on Wednesday of this week. We know that on that first day, we had about 5,000 visitors to the site. So we have high hopes that this will become a place that will allow displaced federal workers a more frictionless experience to get access to all these resources. We don't yet know whether folks have gotten jobs through it, but we're only a day and a half in. So we have high hopes.
And as we wrap up here, what's your message to the residents who might be worried about the long-term economic stability of the district? What do you want them to know?
Well, I think our primary message and our primary message regionally is we have got you. We care about you and your mission and your passion. You are an incredible contribution to our region, and we want to make it possible for you to stay and to continue to earn good income in areas that you care deeply about.
I've been speaking with Paul Kine. He's the Deputy Mayor for Education in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll post this interview and a link to talentcapital.ai at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.